Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to the second race of the FTF Grand National Series presented by Splash and Go. We are here tonight for the Flipping Carl Long 100 at Rockingham Raceway, North Carolina Speedway, more commonly just known as The Rock. Seth Cole alongside of Sam Dyer here this evening, and Sam, after a very exciting race last week, I should say, at Daytona, I think we could safely say this is now where the season starts.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the more funner tracks to watch, I think. We're going to see a lot of cars trying to hug the bottom at this racetrack. We're going to also have to see if the second groove is going to be here for any of these cars, because it's looking like cars that are staying on the yellow line are the fastest ones around the track.
Before we came on the air, you and I, we were bantering back and forth about just really how awkward and unique this track really is.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the more unique tracks for sure with the ways that these corners are set up. I mean, the bankings into these corners is so much harsher than some other tracks, and coming off the corners is going to be really difficult for these cars to not snap on them, and it's going to be difficult for these cars to just stay straight.
Brandon McKissick, first time he's going to be making a start here in the Grand National Series. He's the pole sitter alongside of the 046 of Raja Karuth. Those two did not take the green flag at Daytona last week. They're taking the green here tonight, though, at The Rock.
Brandon McKissick is going to be taking the lead here and be pulling away slightly, but we're going to be seeing how he can stay, while the 046 is going to be trying to stay up top, but he's going to lose second to 31.
Yeah, I believe Karuth just got the wall there as Derek Justice made his way around for second. That's Michael Frisch sliding in line there for the fourth position, trying to hound the 046. Behind them, Kevin McAdams and Shane Theron. A lot of drivers with different agendas here. Obviously for McKissick, he's making his first start of the season, but there are guys coming off the heels of Daytona last week. They're either trying to continue momentum of a good run or try and counter a poor performance at the Superspeedway last week.
Everyone's basically straight on center, except if you're going on back to 8th place. We're starting to see our first battle, really, between the 29 and the 39.
Got a battle up just ahead as well there. Shane Theron trying to get to the inside of Kevin McAdams. He'll succeed. Philip Kraus trying to do the same. That was a pass for 5th place, by the way, there for Shane Theron. And back to what you were talking about there, that battle just inside of the top 10. Justin Knobloch now. And to his outside is Adam Baker in the 39.
Adam Baker is fading quick. He's going to lose now 2 positions that lap, but still staying on the outside of the 94.
And a big reason why we were saying that kind of the season begins now for these drivers is if you look at the difference between Daytona and Rockingham, Daytona is kind of a crapshoot. You have to be in the right place at the right time, avoid the wrecks. But here at Rockingham, really it comes down to tire conservation because this track is very abrasive, and we've got our first caution.
Going through the field, trying to figure out where it was.
I believe Corey Rexford in the 03 may have been involved in it. I think the 47 also, yeah, a lot of damage on Warren Keith's Toyota Supra. So I have a feeling that it started there. Looks like also Justin Malello just up ahead got a pretty good amount of damage to that right rear. So this was definitely a multi-car wreck.
Yeah, it was going on around the straight backstretch entering turn number 3 where all this happened.
See if we can find out what happened here with these drivers. And there may have been some other ones collected up in that we haven't seen yet.
Interesting to see the first car to come down pit road. It's going to be Shane Theron. He's going to be coming in with the 94 and the 20 machine. Now we're only about 6 laps in. Only ran for about 4 to 5 laps there. So it's interesting seeing these cars coming in to get some pit stops, getting fresh rubber. We'll see if a couple laps is going to help to have fresher tires than everyone else.
And that is Theron pitting from the 5th position, so giving up an awful lot of track position to do that. Obviously, going to have to fight his way back up through traffic. Does it surprise you, them coming to pit road this early? I mean, we're only 5 laps in.
It kind of does. I mean, with the way that fuel is going to be during this race, it should be a one-stop for most of these guys if they just push it as far as they can go if we were going on a green flag run. But pitting now, it might be strategy just to see, hey, it's better for me to come in and and just get fresh rubber and see how I can get through the pack. But there's a risk involved. I mean, you have the chance of getting involved with these accidents, traveling through the pack, with how much track position is important here.
Well, unfortunately, we were not able to show the replay what happened there. Obviously, some connection issues going on for some of these drivers, and I tried pinpointing Malello, Rexford, and Keith to see if we could see what happened to them. And apparently, at the time that the wreck took place, all three of them had kind of disappeared off the screen, so you almost got to wonder if maybe it was a connection issue wreck that might have brought out this first yellow.
Possibly could have been. Also, with iRacing, sometimes you're not able to go all the way back with some of these cautions when so many cars are in these lobbies. I mean, this is a 40-car race that we've got going on. Most that we've... I mean, this series loves to have a full pack of cars, so it's awesome to see, but sometimes we do miss some of these accidents.
We got a little bit of feedback from some of the drivers here that are participating in tonight's race as far as what the fuel window looks like in terms of how far they can make it, and I think you projected that these guys, as far as fuel's concerned, they can really make it the entire way on one pit stop.
That they can, and pace cars off, and we're green.
There's Justice on the outside, Brandon McKissick on the inside. Behind them, you got Roger Carruth and Michael Frisch. That's your first two rows, and oh, immediately a caution again. And the old adage, cautions breed cautions. I mean, everybody all bunched up together here on these restarts. No surprise that we're going to see quite a number of yellows when everyone is bunched up.
It happens somewhere in the back, entering the corner.
42 of Tyler Claybaugh might have been involved in this one. Don't see a lot of damage on that car, but he looked like he was a little bit slow and maybe off the pace.
Looks like it could have been with the 28 machine coming down on the 08.
That'd have been Ryan Williams there. Also got Will Goss with some front end damage, so he might have been collected up in whatever this was. Go back and see if we can actually see what caused this one. And almost looks like we're going to have the same issue with connections not showing what brought out this caution. Oh, nope, there we go. We do have a look at what brought this one out. 3 wide there, Ryan Williams up on the top side, and a little bit of contact. I believe that was Matt Kemp in the 05 that got him. Up into the wall goes that Jeb Burton-like paint scheme. And then you see the car disappear, so it was hard to tell if anybody else got into him. But that brings out the second caution of the day. Sets us up for yet another restart.
I'm interested to see if anyone else is going to come down, get some tires. We saw Shane Theron come in earlier, and don't know if these guys are faking to come in. It looked like the 046 was thinking about it, but decides not to.
I think actually Will Goss might have been collected up in the first incident that we saw drivers like Malello and Rexford, Warren Keith get caught up in, because he actually just got the free pass. He'll go around and get back on the lead lap. We already have a few drivers that have already taken their cars behind the wall. Colin Keister's out of the race. I don't know if he even took the green. Corey Rexford, Justin Malello, and looks like Warren Keith have all retired from the race. And also a lap down right now is Ryan Williams. I don't know if he's come back out on the track or not. Yeah, he's now returning back to the track. Didn't look like he got a whole lot of damage there. He did nose it up towards the wall, but at the same time, not nearly, it looked like, enough damage to take him out of this race.
Yeah, also for clarification, actually, Corey Rexford is still running. He's out there. He's just 5 laps down from the first accident. He is on the track running at this moment.
So, as we get ready for yet another restart here, Brandon McKissick, I believe we're going to see the lights go out on the pace car this time by, so we should be going back green on lap 13 of 99. It's going to be McKissick on the front row again with Justice, then it's going to be Carruth and Kevin McAdams your second row. And looking at some of these guys up here towards the front, as of right now, drivers like McAdams, Justice. Justice finished 7th last week at Daytona. McAdams, on the other hand, he ended up finishing in... Or did he not run last week? He might not have actually run last week, if I remember correctly. So really, up here in the top 4, it's only one driver, Derek Justice, who ran Daytona and here tonight.
Yeah, some of these drivers do have drop races. I think they have a total of 2 or 3 races that they can drop if they're just not there. So cars can miss a couple of races here and there as pace car rolls off and we're about to go green.
Green flag back in the air. See if they'll be able to make it through turns 1 and 2 this time without another caution coming out. And another thing we should point out too, this is the Grand National Series, which runs similar rules to the Xfinity Series over in NASCAR. That's for 3 wide.
Kissick did not get a huge good run out there. Everyone had to go around him.
Justice went around the outside, Carruth went around the inside. They split him 3 wide down the back straightaway. Now Justice to the lead. But I was going to say that based off it running the same kind of rules as the NASCAR Xfinity Series, only 12 spots are available for drivers making it into the playoffs. And one car back there looked really out of shape, and that was Cosman in the 84. He saved it, but we are under caution.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge pileup. Holy moly, all the way in the back.
Fieldhouse was involved, I believe.
There might be at least 8 cars involved all the way in the back. As a complete jam happened at the bottom of the track.
Like Tyler Claybaugh could have been in it. Yep, he got a lot of damage. A couple of other guys back in that area were William Goss, Michael Kaczynski, Richard Collette, Corey Spencer. We'll go back and see if we can find out what happened there. I'm not certain we're going to be able to see because you said about 8 drivers, and about 8 drivers disappeared off the grid at that time. So I'm assuming it was probably all those drivers that were involved in the wreck. But we'll see if we can...
like it started around 20. It looks like the 30 machine bounces off the wall coming off the corner, gets in front of the 39, clips the 20, and around everyone goes from there on out.
See if we can get a look here. Might not be able to. I could see the smoke there lingering on the back straightaway. I'll see if I can find a car that maybe did not disappear. Okay, I think we'll be able to at least see like the start of this wreck. I don't know if we'll see the drivers involved, but you mentioned the 39 and the 20, and we're going to pinpoint it here on the 20 car of David Shieldhouse. And there you see, Kuczynski gets up the track, into the wall, down into Shieldhouse. John Poole the third was collected up there in the 21. And we'll actually take an onboard with the 21 car and see if we can pinpoint any others that might have been collected up in this incident.
One of those things where cars are trying to avoid and not everyone's able to whoa up, and that's what's collecting a lot of these cars at the end of this caution. I mean, there's not a lot of space once you're coming off the corner. Car's kind of stuck to where it's going.
That back straightaway is called Thunder Alley for a reason. It's got the wall obviously to the outside, but it's also got the wall down on the inside. And to your point, when cars start going up and down on the track, it's very difficult to be able to find a lane to be able to slide your way through. The track gets blocked up. So yet another restart, and to be honest, coming into this race, I was expecting we were probably going to see quite a number of early yellow flags. Sometimes, based off of the tire wear that this track has and everything, sometimes you end up having long green flag runs, but other times with a lot of drivers on slick tires. We mentioned this track's very abrasive. It's a very old surface, so there's not a whole lot of grip there, and But a lot of drivers slipping and sliding around, especially with these double file restarts. Kind of a recipe for trouble to break out.
Yeah, I was watching during practice. These cars were, even when they were by themselves, they were sliding all around, just struggling to hold their line. So it's difficult to just hold your line by yourself. Imagine when you've got cars around you, messing with the aerodynamics around your car. It's just going to be difficult to really keep your machine straight. As the pace car lights are off, we're going to be going green this time by
Derek Justice, the race leader. Raja Carruth lines up to his outside in second. Then you got Kevin McAdams and Blake Reynolds. That's your top four, with Philip Kraus completing the top five. The rest of the top 10 are Jacob Fisher, Matt Kemp, Jose Solis Jr., Matt Wishart, and Justin Knobloch. We should make mention we are guaranteed a new winner this season, as Kane Cook, last week's winner from Daytona, is not in the field. Green flag's going to come back out on lap number 19.
Brandon McKissick is a car that's going to be starting 19th because he had to come into the pits with the issues that he was having at the start. As Derek Justice gets a huge run, but the 046 did not go anywhere.
No, he did not. That car did not go at all, and it held up the entire outside line. You see Blake Reynolds trying to go around him. He was the first car behind the 046 that restart, and another yellow. And this one, I believe, may have involved the 42 again. There's the 48 down there. Andy Margot with some damage, it looks like, as well.
Looks like cars about 4 wide entering turn 1, and that is not going to work. As Brandon McKissick's involved in this.
Yep, Cody Atkins was in it. I believe Corey Spencer may have been involved, and I think Andrew Schwartz may have gotten involved in this. A lot of front and rear end damage on his number 67 Ford Mustang. We'll go back and see if we can find out what happened to these guys. And boy, we had a couple of wrecks early that were solo car spins, maybe a couple cars getting some minimal damage. Now we're getting into the multi-car wreck territory.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought that last caution was going to be our big one for the race, but this one, not as bad, but a lot of good cars are involved. With Brandon McKissick getting a lot of front end damage, this could spell disaster for him.
One of the stronger cars here in the opening stages of this race, and things have just gone from bad to worse for the driver of the 36. And you mentioned 4 wide. We're going to show it to you here. That was going into turn 1. And it looks like really only the front end damage. Oh, and well, I was going to say it looked like he just hit the wall, but then we see he gets into Andy Margot and Corey Spencer later on. We'll go back and see what happened to Schwartz, because I believe he got into the back of the car that was sliding up the track. He's going to take it. Well, they were 3 wide further back behind the 4 wide formation, and there's nowhere for Schwartz to go. Bronson Stafford got a piece. Kyle Riley was involved in the 62, and yet another yellow flag. And this is another thing that can lead to the green flag racing at North Carolina Speedway, is drivers getting involved in early wrecks, not being up to speed. The field gets spread out, and before you know it, we end up having so many drivers spread out, there's no one close enough to be able to wreck each other.
Yeah, I mean, while we were looking at the review there, race control came in and they were telling the drivers, hey, we're just 20 laps in, and this is a 99 lap race. Let's cool it down. Let's survive to get to the end of this race. So we'll see now if the drivers are going to be any less aggressive than what they have been right now. But I think...
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, this caution really fell from the 046 not taking off at the start. That just clogged everyone up. I mean, that was the main issue. It really wasn't the fact that these cars were racing aggressive. It's just everyone was so jam-packed.
Great point. I mean, you can see even up here at the front of the field, 5th place running Blake Reynolds has that rear end damage. So even guys up here inside of the top 10 have the battle scars from the early wrecks in this race. But right now, Derek Justice has a very clean car, and I don't know if it was as much the 046 didn't get going on the start as he was surprised, because obviously the race leader gets to determine the acceleration point, and I just don't think he was ready for when the 31 went.
As the pace car lights are off, we're going to go green this time by, but yeah, to your point, there are a lot of cars that have damage on their rear end of their machines. I mean, even the 26 has some damage. Of Kevin McAdams, he has damage on the back end of his car. So a lot of machines, if you just look at the back, a lot of them are dented up. We'll see if any of that, it shouldn't hurt them really that much, but for the cars that are hitting them, their front ends, you got to be careful with any engine damage that you could be getting.
Your point about McKissick, he has taken his car behind the wall, as has the 28 of Ryan Williams. Green flag comes back out, lap 23, still 77 laps remaining in this race. And as you said, race control told the drivers still a long ways to go. Let's see if they take that to heart.
Derek Justice gets another huge run, another great start from him. And the 26 car did a lot better than the 046 did last time, but still lost some positions there.
Philip Kraus is going to move into the second position ahead of Blake Reynolds. Kraus had a strong car back at Daytona, even though he didn't exactly have the finish he was looking for. Got caught up in a late wreck and finished outside of the top 10. I'm not 100% certain where it was that he finished. 29th, actually, as I just spotted it. So obviously he's trying to bounce back from Daytona. Best battle right now looks like it's going on around the midway point of the top 10. That's Matt Wishart, Jose Solis Jr. They're battling with each other. Shane Theron, remember, he made the pit stop back, I think it was on lap 5, the first caution. He's now cracked the top 10, going for 9th place.
Yeah, Shane Theron, he was pitted and got out around 19th, and now he's up to 10th place. And now moving up to even 9th, possibly, if he can get around the 97. But he's a man on a mission. He was the fastest during practice, did not get the fastest time during qualifying, only got up to 6th. So we'll see if he has a machine to get through the pack.
I believe of all the drivers up here inside the top 10, he is the one with the freshest tires. He has about 6 laps fresher tires than the rest of the top 8. And obviously with him cutting his way through the field, we're seeing the result of that. The guy right behind him, the one of Sean Butler, also on the same cycle of tires as Shane Theron. So the two of them have been steadily working their way up through the field. And looks like, I don't want to jinx it, but it looks like we're going into a long green flag run. So if you're Shane Theron, what does those extra 5 laps that you have of tire rubber, how does that help you on a green flag run, knowing we're going to have at least one more pit stop before this race is over?
I mean, it allows him just to drive a little bit longer than all these guys that might start short pit. I mean, his strategy could be just to try to get less fuel into his tank later on in the race. So this car's a little bit lighter and could drive a little bit better than some of these guys. Up front, Phil Kraus is going to lose a couple positions, going up from 2nd down to 5th.
Falls into the clutches now of Jacob Fisher. And he's going to go to the inside of him. Wonder if Kraus might have messed up a corner. Looks like he's trying that second groove. You said that some of these guys might venture up there and see if there's anything to be found in that second lane. It's like the 91's one of those few that's trying to find some grip up there.
Yeah, but he was mainly up there because he messed up a corner and got passed by these 3 cars that were in front of him, and then he almost lost another position. I mean, yeah, these cars could try to move up and try to make the outside line work, but really the fastest place on the track is staying on the bottom, right on that yellow line throughout the corner.
Battle for second starting to close up a little bit here. Kevin McAdams has cut it down to about a car length and a half between himself and second place Blake Reynolds. This is going on about a half second behind race leader Derek Justice. Justice last week at Daytona, we mentioned finishing in 7th. He, in that race, I believe led 24 laps of that event. So spent a good portion of time out in front at Daytona, and now spent a good portion of time out in front here at Rockingham. And it looks like now he may have a challenge from Blake Reynolds, who had a nice lap that time around.
Blake Reynolds getting a nice run off the corner. We'll see if he's able to get off turn number 4 just as clean. Beating Cross. A car that I'm watching out in the middle of the track right now. I'm in 10th spot. It's going to be Matt Wishart. He's been He was up around the 7th place, but slowly started to move back and getting passed by everyone. I don't know what's going on with his machine, but he is losing a lot of spots, and everyone is passing him on the inside.
Teammate now in the 58, Michael Frisch trying to pass him. Looks like maybe Wishart may have brushed the wall there off of 4 just a tad. He's lost 3 spots we know of at least since 2 laps ago, and now in danger of falling outside of the top 15. Take a look at the gap you've got here. We're looking at the 20 of David Schildhaus, who's been involved in 2 of our 4 cautions up to this point. He's running currently in the 16th position, but then it's about 2.5 seconds back to the next car in 17th of Evan Rice.
Yeah, Evan Rice has been a part of 2 of our accidents, so it makes sense that he's having issues, and it looks like everyone from 17th on back all have some type of engine or some type of damage on their car that is making them not be as quick as everyone else.
Monster Energy colors on last week's runner-up, Dylan Schwallenberg, and I'm really surprised with us seeing him almost win last week at Daytona that we haven't seen him up in the top 10, but there he sits currently in the 18th position. Move back up to the front, 0.4 of a second right now separate Derek Justice from Blake Reynolds, and then it's maybe about another little less than 0.4 from Reynolds back to McAdams, but all 3 still within striking distance of each other.
Yeah, just looking at the lap times compared to our leaders and the cars that are about to get lapped, they are about a couple of seconds off, so our leader could be about anywhere from 2 to 5 laps away from catching up to lap cars, and lap traffic could be an issue here for keeping the lead with Derek Justice.
We've had 4 cautions up to this point. Obviously a lot of time for drivers to be able to save some fuel, but with knowing you're going to have to make that pit stop, I mean, do you maybe think about splitting this race down the middle and come to pit road somewhere between lap 45 to 50, or do you try and go as far as you can and have as fresh of tires as you can with as little race remaining as possible?
I think these cars that are in the middle, like around Shane Theory, he's probably going to push his car as far as he can. But these other guys that are around 9th to about 15th could all think about short pitting, coming in around lap 49-ish. And they should be able to make it unless we go to a green-white checkered, which some of these guys might be thinking that we could have a green-white checkered, so they might want to push their car a little bit further so they have enough fuel to make it to the end.
Just saw the 42 of Tyler Claybog go down a lap. He finished last week at Daytona in the 23rd position. Obviously not the run he was looking for a week later. He is the first car 1 lap down in the 20th position. 19 cars still on the lead lap, and more lap traffic just up ahead here for Derek Justice. Looks like the lap traffic is actually allowing 2nd and 3rd to start closing in.
Closest battle that I can see right now is the battle for 6th place. You got Jacob Fisher and Sean Butler. Shane Butler battling it out.
Fisher in the 46, Butler in the 1. And just moments ago, before we jump back to this battle, it looked like Derek Justice had caught John Poole the 3rd, and he has now put him a lap down.
Looks like that possibly could have hurt Blake Reynolds, but he was able to really catch John Poole the 3rd at a safe spot where he was able to just run past him, but that could have been dangerous where he got that lap car.
I believe the next car ahead for the 31 is the 48 of Andy Margot. Then next would be Andrew Schwartz. Both those drivers have been involved in at least 1 of our 4 cautions here today. Justice going to make very quick work of Margot, put him a lap down, and now sets his sights on a whole bunch of other drivers. I mean, there's a lot of them lined up there. I think the next car is actually the 11 of Corey Spencer, who already is off the lead lap. I don't think he's going to put up much of a fight. Lets the leader on by. And how do you think this is affecting Derek Justice? I mean, before when we went back green, he had all that clean racetrack, a lot of clean air on the nose. You got to think running in behind some of these lap cars got to be affecting him a little bit handling-wise.
I mean, if anything, it's giving him a little bit of speed on the back stretch to be able to draft this a little bit. But a lot of these lap cars are getting out of the way for him. It's mainly Blake Reynolds that looks like he's having issues with these lap cars. He's catching them off of the corners almost every time, which is an awful place to catch them. Usually you want to get these lap cars in the middle of the corner so that will just get out of the way for you. But if he's catching them off a corner, that means he has to maybe let off a little bit more to make sure that he doesn't run into these lap cars. Well,
incredibly, even with having to deal with lap traffic, little less than a second separate the top four, Justice, Reynolds, McAdams, and Carruth. So they're all within striking distance of each other, which obviously if we remain green will definitely make it interesting to see which of these guys tries to outfox the other ones by maybe short pitting, getting the fresh rubber, and going out there, getting the faster lap times. They're maybe gaining themselves some track position because, you know, if you're going to have green flag pit stops and you're going to take advantage of that, you've got to at least be in the same vicinity as your competition.
All right, just based on the lap that we're at right now of lap 46, from 48 for the leader, we're going to be seeing some cars going into the pits pretty soon. Just because of the pit, all the cautions that we've had, these cars could push it to about lap 55. Caution's out though, so pit strategy is going to be tossed out the window.
Yep, this changes everything because this is right past the halfway point of this race, which means if everybody comes to pit road this time, they should be good to go the rest of the way on fuel.
Looks like it's going to be John Poole III that was involved in this accident.
Poole had just recently gone a lap down. And boy, it looks like he hit hard. A lot of front end damage on the HP Chevrolet. And guessing it was, yeah, I'm seeing the smoke off of turn 2. Or I'm sorry, turn 1. And we were only able to see the aftermath of it. But obviously the whole front end ripped off. You can tell he must have hit that inside wall a ton. As there you see his car sitting in the middle of the track there.
So that strategy that Shane Therian could have been throwing out with his new fresher tires compared to everyone else is not going to work out, as he's also coming to the pits now with everyone else. Actually watching Shane Therian actually overshot, so he's probably going to be losing some bases here on pits.
Well, the thing I noticed too is with Shane Therian, I was kind of wondering about his fresher tires. He got up to about the 8th position and then all of a sudden started falling off and fell back to 11th. So I almost wonder if running as many laps as they did, the fresher tires he had kind of got canceled out.
Oh, I mean, 100%. I mean, you're probably only getting a couple of laps advantage, so he probably already passed that expiration date on his tires. So he was battling with a whole bunch of cars. There was lap traffic involved, so there was a lot of factors in that. But yeah, like you said, he's kind of just stalled out. But we'll have to wait and see if he's able to catch back up, because now he's going to be starting in 11th position.
For John Poole III, coming off a decent run, I guess we could say, at Daytona, finished in the 18th position and consequently came into this race 18th in the point standings. With the damage we saw to the front end of his race car, obviously I don't think he's going to be gaining any spots in the points here today. He is still out on track though. You see him just now running ahead of race leader Derek Justice, so he'll try and soldier on. And it's, I don't know if he came to pit road or not. It almost looks like he's actually planning on staying out and taking a wave around, which I'm a little shocked by that.
All these cars could be possibly doing that to see.
Bronson Stafford looks like he's trying to take the wave around, as is Warren Keith. For, I believe, Poole and Stafford, this would put them back on the lead lap. Warren Keith right now is running 4 laps down to the leader, so he would gain at least one of those laps back. And yeah, they are taking the wave around, so I wonder how up to speed that 21 car is going to be if he hit that inside wall, ripped the whole nose off of the car, and didn't come to pit road for repairs.
I mean, there's so many cars out here with a ton of damage, so just staying out here and not getting as lapped down, it's still going to be getting you some more points than what you would have been getting by just sitting out there. So we'll have to wait and see if he's able to survive the rest of this race, as we are past the halfway marker.
Bring up a great point with the fact about damaged cars, because I think if I'm looking here, I think out of our top 20, maybe 15 cars have not been involved in a wreck in some way, shape, or form here today.
I mean, that's a large number I would think it might even be less than that on cars that are actually fully clean as the pace car rolls off and we're about to go green.
There, Justice gets back underway, and again, a great restart. This time he leaves Blake Reynolds in the dust. Reynolds going to have to fight with Raja Caruth for that second position, and this is going on already a half second behind the leader.
Oh, Blake Reynolds smashes the wall coming off of turn 2, which backs everyone up. Basically coordinates everyone back, but luckily everyone gets through the corner just fine.
Yeah, Caruth checked up because he thought the 29 was going to bounce down into him, and then Kevin McAdams, seeing that loss of momentum by both cars, thought about sticking his nose 3 wide down Thunder Alley. Thought better of it, though. That's going to be Caruth to second, Reynolds to third, McAdams into fourth, and Kraus now will slide into fifth.
Just looking at through all the cars that are in the top 10, the one probably with the most damage right now is Adam Baker with that 39 machine. He's got a huge amount of damage on the front end, but is still able to run up here with these guys just running in the 9th place.
You talk about run up, he almost ran shot Butler up the track.
Whoa!
What a save by Cosman from around the 11th position.
Got way loose off there, but was still able to save it. Luckily did not get into that inside wall.
Gonna hang on to the spot. He got a challenge there on the top side from Matt Kemp. That was for 11th. And Evan Rice, after spinning out and bringing on, I think it was the 3rd caution, he's back up here in the top 15. He just took the 12th position.
Watching a Shane Therian trying to move up and get past some of these cars.
King Theory in there. All these drivers now are basically on the same strategy as far as how many laps they've got on their tires. I'm actually looking at something right here. At the 27 of Franklin Ash, right now he is in the 17th position, and he has not been to pit road since the first caution. 51 laps he's been out there on those set of tires, so either he's planning for another yellow flag to come out or he's hoping for a miracle, because that car cannot make it the rest of the way on fuel.
Yeah, I mean, he came in with that original pack of cars that Shane Therian was a part of that pitted with that first caution. So I'm interested to see if he's trying to just push it as far as he can, expecting there to be another caution, as that is a really risky play. But I think he was expecting just another caution to come out and maybe get a couple positions staying out.
Yeah, it's really risky too, because you think back to last week at Daytona. Yes, he spun from the lead, but he battled back to 14th. So he comes into this race second driver out of a potential playoff position. So I'm not certain if you're up there in the vicinity of the cutoff line, if you would want to go for such a risk like that, especially this early on in the season. Battle we saw right there, 14th place exchanged hands. Michael Frisch getting around Dylan Schwallenberg. As we move a little bit further up to the front of the field, looks like the battle for third, or actually for fourth rather, is going on between McAdams, Kraus, and Solis Jr.
Yeah, I mean, from about 3rd place on back, everyone was 2 by 2 by 2, just battling for almost every position that they could. And everyone was starting to figure out their spots, except for this battle for 5th.
Solis Jr. there in the Discount Tire Ford Mustang. To the inside of Kraus in the Spark VR Toyota Supra. The battle for the 5th position, and that has brought a lot of other drivers up into this vicinity. Sean Butler in the 1, Jacob Fisher in the 46, I'm sorry, and Justin Knobloch in the 94.
As this battle's going on, this 046 Raja Cathruth is making his run on our leader, Derek Justice. He was about a second back, but now is less than almost a quarter of a second on our leader.
Couple of Supras with about maybe 3 car lengths separating them. And I think they're getting close to maybe starting to reel in traffic. Yeah, you can see there were a couple of cars just a corner ahead. So as this battle starts to heat up for the lead, you can bring in slower traffic into the factor as well. And now as we've gotten ourselves into a couple of green flag runs after our early cautions, we're entering into the vicinity now where you might consider it go time. It's going to be 35 laps to go this next time around.
Yeah, I'm just looking back at the back of the pack. There are clusters of lap cars that are all damaged machines just sticking together about 15 seconds on back from our leaders. So Our leaders are going to catch them in the next about 10 to 15 laps if we stay green.
John Poole III, who stayed out, took the wave around after bringing out the last caution in the 21st position, now becomes the first car 1 lap down. As you said, a lot of other drivers just up ahead about to be reeled in, including Andrew Schwartz, Zachary Lady, Jake Poulin, Richard Collette, a lot of drivers, and you got to wonder if they're going to be courteous, move out of the way of the race leaders or not.
This cluster from about 7th to about 12th, about 12th, they are all on top of each other. I'm surprised with how close they are right now, and they're not making anything. I mean, if there's a mistake, these guys are going to pounce on it.
Fisher, there's Cosman in the 84, Adam Baker, Shane Theron. And as these guys are all battling with each other, they're having to make their way around John Poole III. Battle there for the 7th position. Justin Knobloch going to take the position away from Butler. Knobloch coming into this race currently, I believe, outside of the cut line. Yeah, he was 37th last week at Daytona, and he actually, early stages of that race, had a good run going. Hey, you talk about that battle for the lead, it is still right there. Now about a car length and a half separation from Justice back to Carruth.
They are entering the corners as the lap cars are exiting it. So again, we're only about 5 to 10 laps away from our leaders catching up to lap traffic if we stay green. And if we stay green, we could be seeing these two battling it out for the lead with lap traffic all around them.
Like right now, Carruth has the better corner entry. Justice is able to get off the corner a little bit better on exit. And, you know, you think about this track and Darlington and everything, the guys that are up front, you got to credit them, because a lot of tracks that we go to, you know, your normal mile and a half, your normal mile tracks are kind of rhythm tracks. Turns 1 and 2 are very similar to 3 and 4, but not here. Turns 1 and 2, a much heavier braking zone. 3 and 4 is a little bit easier on drivers, so you really have to put yourself in a mindset of the fact that the 2 corners on one end of the track are entirely different from the other side of the track.
That they are, and that was one thing we were trying to talk about earlier in the race, was just how different this track is compared to all our other tracks, our other mile and a half to mile tracks. It's just compared to both corners, they're so different from one another.
Nearing 20 laps to go, and the gap still remains just about a car length, maybe a little less, between the top 2. Now, the one thing I think if you're Carruth you have to do is you have to keep the pressure on Justice, because if you do, maybe Justice will wear out his tires, and then he'll be a sitting duck when you get to the closing stages, but Carruth doesn't want to wait.
Yeah, I mean, if these two, they battle it out with wasting their tires, it still gives the 26 of Kevin McAdams a chance to get back into the mix.
Yeah, McAdams has now made his way around Blake Reynolds for the 3rd spot, so he's got a front row seat of what's going on ahead of him. And you look a little bit further back, and a couple of drivers that, you know, we saw up there battling that have faded back are Shane Theron and Adam Baker. A couple of guys that are moving forward are the 84 and the 46.
Our biggest mover of the race so far is Shane. It's going to be Shane Butler. He has started the race off 31st and now is up to 8th place, battling it out with 46 and 84 machine.
Justin Malello coming to pit road, probably getting out of the way of the race leaders. And I believe, I would have to double check. No, wow. The 27 is still not pitted. He's gone 69 laps on 1 tank of fuel.
I mean, that is very impressive on the fact that how far he has pushed this machine. If he's able to push it all the way to the end, this is a miracle run for him.
Makes you wonder, too, if with him being able to go this far, he's now on his 70th lap. If we had not had that last caution, if we had managed to go green to the end, you know, we know now that drivers could have gone 70 laps. That would have put them somewhere around, lap 75, lap 80 that they probably would have had to come to pit road. So, boy, that would have been really close.
It would have been close. to the end. What I think with how much the tire wear is and with everyone else coming in, I think they probably would, that strategy would have been very difficult to pull off for a win.
Pass going to be made here on a couple of lap machines. John Poole, the third, again. Obviously, the damage he sustained, not coming to fix it, has really slowed him down.
Oh,
He
no!
rides the wall and collects the 0.46.
It takes out even more. That's the 26 is involved as well.
Oh, Poole hit that wall hard again. Kevin McAdams, you mentioned, involved, and one car, I think, got airborne. That might have been Carruth on the back straightaway. And just like that, that's second and third running cars involved in this wreck with 20 laps to go.
Just John Poole was trying to stay clean, hits the wall, and his car just bounces back into the track. You just hate to see that late in the race.
And now, you know, I don't know how much damage was sustained by Carruth, but you have to wonder now, I mean, if this takes him out of the running, who is there that can challenge Derek Justice?
At the moment, you got to wonder if it's going to be Blake Reynolds. I mean, his issue was getting into the wall late in the race. I mean, in the start of that last caution. So if he's able to stay off the wall, he might have a chance.
I want to watch this spin here. We were watching with the 21, but I want to watch the spin by the 0.46. He might be okay. There's the spin. The car never touched the outside wall. He never hit anybody. He just went into a four-wheel slide. No contact for his Supra. Tremendous job of keeping it off the wall, and for other drivers avoiding him. He still is running up inside of the top 5. The only thing I'd be worried about is being that hard on the brakes. How hard did that wear his tires?
Tire wear is a lot, and he is in the pits still.
Yes, he is.
Getting repairs. So the top 5 that he could have been having, it is going to be further back, probably around 12th to 13th is where he's going to be starting.
And the tough break for him is there's not going to be that many laps left to be able to bounce back. So, yeah, I mean, to your point, maybe the 29 of Blake Reynolds is the guy to maybe get up there to challenge Derek Justice, but boy, that took away what was looking like it was going to be a doozy of a battle between Justice and the 0.46 of Carruth.
Well, another thing we got to think about is the restarts here. Our leader right now has been getting some fantastic restarts.
Right.
And no one's been able to really figure out when he's going to go. So we got to wonder if he's going to be able to stay out there and get another great restart, or if this 29's figured it out how to stay with them side by side entering the corner. But also, race control told the racers earlier to keep it easy. Now we're at the end of the race. Are these drivers going to stay easy anymore, or are they going to be driving way more aggressive like they were early on in the race?
I got an easy answer for you. No, they're not going to be driving easy now. When we start entering into 15 to go, 10 to go, 5 to go, the aggressiveness picks up. And these drivers are realizing, I think, especially early on in this race with the way they were racing each other, you have to be aggressive if you're going to make a pass with the way that this track drives. Now, we see Justice here with Reynolds, but I would look at a couple of guys that have been steadily working their way up through the field in this race. Actually, hold on. We actually had a car stay out. They're scoring the 69 of Josh Lasson, the race leader.
The Lasson could have been staying out.
So this is interesting strategy. That puts Justice up on the outside line, as looks like the 69 will take the inside. And that means the 69 is the control car. So Justice doesn't get the advantage of controlling the restart here.
Justice has been getting good restarts so far. So we'll see if he's able to stay with the 69 machine. But the 69 machine could throw him off, and Justice could be getting an awful start, which allows more cars on the bottom side to get past them. But the base car lights are out, and we're going this time.
Yeah, everybody was on pit road with the exception of Lasson. He's got about 30 laps older tires, but he controls the start. Green flag in the air, and Justice, look at Reynolds going to go
Reynolds
three
goes
wide.
below. 3 wide entering turn number 1. And that 69 machine did not get a good run at all as he is fading back fast.
Yes, he is. That's going to move.
Oh, that's going to get caught on caution. It looks like the 87 machine, I believe, or the 81, went sideways and caused everyone to spin out.
81 would be Richard Collette. And I think maybe the 84 might have, well, I don't know. Cosman might have actually been back there because of his pit stop. See if we can find out.
I'm sorry, I said the wrong number. It was actually the 00 that got spun around.
That'd be Jake Poulin.
It was the 81's. I thought maybe it was the 81, but I got their paint schemes mixed up there.
Jake Poulin in the Hardy Supra. Oh, yep, you can see it right there. All right, let's see if we can show what happens here. He got a little help from behind by actually, believe it or not, Raja Karuth.
It looked like they were both trying to go to the same spot, and there just wasn't enough room.
And
around they go.
Almost had a wreck further up there with the 39 of Adam Baker. He almost went around off somebody's nose, and there you see Ryan Williams comes flying in. I believe that's Margot there in the 48 that also got involved.
Kevin McAdams gets more involved.
And I think maybe the 47 of Warren Keith may have gotten a piece of that as well. The old adage, cautions breed cautions, and obviously with us getting these late race restarts, we're going to, I think, see a lot more of what we just saw there. Now, obviously, a lot of that was contributed to the 69 being on those older tires, not being as up to speed as these other guys. But even without him, I mean, you know, that wreck took place about 5-6 cars back.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it earlier with the fact that if Lane didn't get going, locked everyone up, and hoping that it looked like we got a decent start, but the 69 machine, once we got out to the corner, just was not able to keep up with everyone else.
And he still is going to stay out. He'll be restarting in the 5th position. It'll be Justice with the lead, Reynolds 2nd, Solis Jr. in 3rd. That's the guy I kind of think we should watch for to maybe be the new challenger against the 31, because he's been working his way steadily through the field up into the top 10, now the top 5. Justin Knobloch is going to restart in 4th. Josh Lawson out there with those older tires restarts in 5th. Sean Butler in 6th. Adam Baker 7th. Shane Thier in 8th. Evan Rice, who spun out and caused, I think it was the 3rd caution, he's going to restart in 9th. And Michael Frisch has kept his car pretty clean today. He's going to line up in 10th. And look at some of these other names back here. I mean, Raja Karuth still not quite out of it. He's in the 11th spot. Franklin Ash, who I guess that strategy really worked out for him. He stayed out, what was it, like 75 laps, still on the lead lap. He was able to come to pit road under the caution before this. He's restarting 12th. Matt Wisher 13th. David Schildhaus and Richard Collette. That's your top 15.
This just like, we'll see. I asked you before if they're going to keep it calm or if they're going to get aggressive, and they are not being nice anymore, just based off that last caution, not giving anyone any room, just keeping to where you're going. So I'm expecting to probably see another caution with how aggressive these guys are going to be right here with coming down to the last couple of laps.
I know that obviously during the course of this race, drivers have been able to lay down lap times with the benefit of draft, but Derek Justice, his best lap is a 23.442. Jose Solis Jr., his best lap, a 23.307. So be interesting to see if those type of lap times will be coming out from the 75 here on this restart, as obviously with Derek Justice being the control car, if he can get the jump he wants, maybe Solis Jr. can get the jump with him and still be on his back bumper by the time they get to 1 and 2.
That's if Solis Jr. is able to stay with him. I think Solis Jr. has the best shot here, just based on Derek Justice's just restarts. They've been so much better than everyone else's, and no one's really been able to stay with them, as Justice stayed with the 69 on that last restart. Took off, stayed side by side, and stayed side by side entering the corner until like Reynolds and Justice had to go around.
Oh, we got a wreck in the back. That I believe was the 39. No, it was not the 39 of Baker. I thought it was. It was an orange machine.
Going to be...
Was that maybe Evan Rice? Might have been the 9 of Evan Rice. I'm not certain, but I think it could have been. Maybe Poulin again? It looked like an orange car, at least on the front.
Trying to see.
Oh, yeah, it was a stack up behind the slower 69 on those older tires. And it looks like Evan Rice got a little help from Raja Caruth.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this stack up here off of 2. That's Franklin Ash getting collected up there in that white and green machine. David Shieldhouse takes evasive moves and splits the inside wall and the 9 car.
Also, there was a little incident even before that with the 58 and the 38 getting together.
Frisch and Shane Theron. Let's see if we can see what happened there. Oh yeah, they were 3 wide, almost 4 wide going into the corner. And ooh, yeah, little contact right there into the left rear. Theron's got some right rear damage because of that now. And it's stuffed up a little bit into the wall. Now neither driver, the 58 nor the 38, have come to pit road. Frisch is still running in 7th, Theron in 8th, so you gotta wonder if that little bit of contact, if there'll be a little bit more sheet metal discussion before this race is over between those two. And I think we're seeing too, we saw like the sense of urgency there is out of Raja Caruth, because really, you look at the last 2 cautions that have come out, they've really been wrecks that have been caused by him trying to aggressively make his way through traffic.
Yeah, he's trying to just make as many moves as he can. But here's the thing, actually. I'm pretty sure just with all these cautions that we've had, he might be losing positions and losing the chances to get more because of all these caution laps.
A great point. I mean, you can make up maybe 1-2 positions on each one of these caution laps, but then you factor into account that you're losing about 3 or 4 laps with pacing. So that takes away a lot of opportunities for Raja Caruth to work his way through the field, not necessarily up to the lead, but at least up there into the top 4, maybe 3, maybe top 2, with all these cautions coming out as opposed to being in a long green flag run. So we're going to rack them up and do it again. So it looks like Derek Justice is indicating he's going to restart on the inside line again. If you're the 75, you kind of got hoodwinked that last time. You were not ready to go when Justice was ready to go. What can he do differently this time?
I mean, you got to have to just stay on his bumper and hope for the best here. It looks like Derek Justice just takes off so much faster than everyone expects, which is, he's been doing the same takeoff almost every single time, so I'm surprised that no one's really figured him out yet.
Well, Derek Justice has spent pretty much this whole race out in front. He didn't start up there. He had to take the lead away early on. But since then, nobody has really been there to challenge him, with the exception of that battle we saw brewing between himself and Caruth just before our 6th caution. Can he hold on for the final 7 laps? And have we seen our last caution here? Something tells me no.
I mean, I was surprised with the car that's up there in 3rd. Cars are just moving up, and we'll see if they're able to stay where they're at. But here we go, pace car's off. Derek Justice waits, and he takes off. 75 was not ready.
Blake Reynolds may be able to slide into 2nd place again. He will. Battle will now be for 3rd between Sean Butler and Jose Solis Jr. Double wide all the way back behind them. No 3 wide that time, so it looks like they're all going to get through Thunder Rally cleanly this time around.
6 laps to go.
Oh, Sean Butler got a nice turn 4, was able to cross over Solis Jr. for 3rd. Ooh, no block up the track. puts the 39 of Baker up into the higher groove, and take a look at the 046, Raja Karuth making moves. He's now up almost to the top 5. This is a battle for the 5th position. I'm sorry, 6th rather.
6 on back, it looks like it's all just jam-packed. But up front, you're just seeing Derek Justice just pull away. But Reynolds almost looks like he's drifting around that corner.
Boy, these guys nose to tail for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th position, and it almost looked like Shane Theron was about to go around off the nose of Michael Frisch there out of turn 1. They all keep it together for the moment. Great comeback run for David Shieldhouse, who's got quite a bit of front-end damage, running there in 11th. Philip Kraus right behind him in 12th. Move a little bit further up here towards the front of the field as Kraus drove it in deep there into turn 1.
I'm into 3 laps to go. Derek Justice might have just pulled away. I don't think Blake Reynolds has anything for that 31 machine.
Right now, Derek Justice just wants to see the white flag, because if a caution came out at this point, before seeing the white flag waving, we would have green-white checkered at our disposal. And Justice does not want to get to that point. He's currently enjoying a 9.5 second lead.
Whoa,
back
there's
to the
the
29.
line in the backstretch. It's between the 84 and the 81.
That's Ricky Collette and Osman Isanoshu, and that is going to set us up for a green-white checkered, at least one.
Green-white checkered. Overtime rules are now implemented. Looked like the 84 machine got a little tight coming off the corner, hit the wall, tried to save it, and was not able to, and collected the 81 machine.
You see right there, wow. Boy, we've seen that a couple of times with a car going up and brushing the wall, and, you know, obviously the right front tire is still spinning, and it just grabs the wall and kind of causes the car to go up in the air.
Difficult to see if there was anything that the 84 could have done in that situation. He was trying to keep it in the wall so it wouldn't go back into anyone, but just wasn't able to keep it straight.
Watch right there, see the right front come off the ground, and when the wall sucks you in like that, your first instinct as a driver is to turn left and try to get it off, and sometimes when that happens, it overcorrects too much, and yeah, I don't think there was anywhere for Ricky Collette to be able to go there in the 81 machine.
Absolutely not. I mean, he was just a bystander of there was nothing he could have done in that. I mean, hindsight, maybe he could have gone up, but there was just nowhere to go, nowhere really any time to react in that situation.
Well, as far as restarts go, Derek Justice has been on it. And this time around, if we are only having this as our only green-white checkered attempt, I mean, I believe we have unlimited green-white checkers, but if this is the only one we have, he only has to defend that lead for technically 2 laps. He was able to pull out to almost a full second that last restart. Something tells me if he can nail this restart, he's got this race locked up.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been the story, has been Derek Justice's way to just pull away from everyone. That last time, he did mix it up. He didn't take off immediately when he could have. He waited just a little bit longer, which threw off the 29, but extremely threw off the 75, who thought he was taking off immediately as well.
So I believe we should get the 1 to green this next time around. As you can see, it's going to be 102 laps, I believe, that are going to be completed in this race, if this is our only green-white checkered. Derek Justice and Blake Reynolds, they've really been the front row for the last few restarts. Really, I think the two of them have really been the front row for maybe the last 7 restarts or so, working here our 9th caution. So Blake Reynolds, he's been able to slot himself at least into 2nd place, but then when he gets down there, I'm not sure if he really has the car to get up there with Derek Justice. You can see the rear end damage on the 29 from an earlier wreck. Does that affect him in any way, do you think?
I mean, he's had it for most of this race. I think he might have had it earlier on where a car bumped him. So, yes, it could be affecting him, but I think he's also got a little bit of front-end damage. That could be what's really affecting him. but it just seems like Derek Justice is just getting through these corners so much smoother than everyone else. It's hard to tell if anyone's really got anything for him.
Derek Justice has proved here, especially on the long green flag runs that we've had, that he has the good long run speed. He wasn't top of the board in practice, he wasn't the pole sitter, but it didn't take him long to get to the front, and since then, nobody has been able to wrestle it away from him. A couple of drivers have been able to lead some laps since he took the lead over, but that's only through pit strategy or, green flag pit stops or anything like that. Hasn't really been in challenging him under green flag conditions on the racetrack, and here we go. It's at least our first, maybe our only green-white checkered, and Justice is off.
Justice did not do the same strategy as last time. He just took off immediately, allowing himself to get a little bit further ahead. But side by side, it's going to be the 75 and a 1 machine coming off turn number 1.
Justice hoping they can keep it together for just one more lap. If they take the white, they race back to the checkers no matter what flag comes out first. It's battling for third and for fifth going on right now as close squeeze there by Caruth on Knobloch. White flag is in the air. One more lap for Derek Justice. 2 car lengths over Blake Reynolds.
Blake Reynolds just isn't close enough. I think this is all Derek Justice. He just needs to hit all his markers here in turn number 3 and 4 as he is right on that yellow line. Smooth as butter. Coming off of 4, it's going to be Derek Justice winning race number 2 here at Rockingham.
7th last week at Daytona. Winner here tonight at the Rock. Derek Justice may have just locked himself up a spot in this season's playoffs, and a dominating performance to say the least here tonight at North Carolina Speedway. A lot of cars through this field have got damage in one way, shape, or form, but that Baskin-Robbins Toyota Supra is absolutely pristine.
I gotta say, my biggest surprise has to be Shane Butler there in the 35 machine, also rocking the number 1 paint scheme. He started 31st and ended 4th. That is my biggest surprise of the race. But Derek Justice with a dominating run. No one can stop him on the restarts, and he continues to win today.
Well, this is not a new sight for me, seeing the number 31 car burning it down at a racetrack. It is different for me seeing it over here on the iRacing gaming system, however. And Derek Justice, great performance here today. Now he'll burn it down here for the fans on the front straightaway. And as he does that, we're going to take a look here at the finishing results from this evening's event. And really the top 2 most of the night finished first and second. Derek Justice with the win, Blake Reynolds in second. Jose Solis Jr. brings it home in third. As you mentioned, Sean Butler there in fourth. And Raja Caruth, after the issue he had there, getting involved in a wreck with then lap machine John Poole the third. Nice comeback for fifth.
Yeah, that was a great run for him. Jacob Fisher there he was running in the top 10, looked like all race with that 94 machine of Justin. No block.
Yep, that would be no block. Shane Theron stayed up in the top 10 most of the day. Tried to play a little bit of strategy, and obviously a couple of cautions thwarted that, but still an 8th place run for him. Michael Frisch will finish in 9th after the hardships of Daytona last week, and Philip Kraus also coming off a mediocre run at Daytona with a nice top 10 finish here this evening. Look here at the remainder of the finisher results, and there's a couple of guys here that also had some comeback runs after getting involved in some early wrecks. Shieldhouse there in 12th, Evan Rice in 13th. Schwallenberg had that front end damage. Good run of 14th after his 2nd place run last week at Daytona. Kyle Riley, I know he had front end damage from a wreck. He finishes in 18th, and Josh Lawson going to finish in 19th place. I mean, probably if you think about it, that was a little bit better than where he was running prior to those late cautions. So the decision to stay out on older tires, yeah, it didn't get him the win, but it probably got him a better finish than he was destined for.
Yeah, but he also got some bonus points for leading that lap. So a couple points here and there really helping him to have a better shot of going in for maybe possibly making it into the playoffs.
If we had this thing go green from the midway point on, we probably would have had very few drivers still in the lead lap, but with all those yellows and drivers getting lucky dogs, 23 drivers finished on the lead lap. Bronson Stafford, the last of those. And you see all the rest of these drivers that got collected up in incidents in some way, shape, or form. from Andy Margot on down. A lot of these drivers were at some points running up inside of the top 15. And I guess the most notable one would have been the 36 of Brandon McKissick, who started on the pole here this evening, finishes the night out in 37th place. So let's get our top three, if we can, here for some interviews. Let's bring in the third place finisher, Jose Solis Jr. And we'll get him in here in a minute. Apparently, with the permissions on TeamSpeak, we have to have them move themselves in. So we'll see if we can get Jose in here for an interview.
User joined your channel.
All right, and we have him. Jose, it's Sam and Seth up here in the Flatout Racing Network studios. You got us?
Yep.
Third place run here tonight. You were running on that inside line second row for quite a number of those late restarts. Was there anything you could do to be able to hang with the 31, or did he just seem to fake you out every single time?
I think he was just faster than me at the end there. I just couldn't catch him.
On that green flag run there, just past the halfway point, I mean, you were cutting your way through the field. What were you doing differently to the competition around you?
I felt like I was saving my tires, and when the tires fell off, I was just able to pass them really easily and get on there instead.
See if Sam's got any questions for you here.
Yeah, Jose, it looked like coming to the end there that there was a lot of action from basically third on back. Was there any issues that you were finding with any of the cars around you, or did you feel like your car was solid coming around these corners?
I felt like my car was pretty solid. I felt pretty comfortable when I was driving around them.
Talk about the tire wear. We know that Rockingham is obviously very famed for it. What was the point of a long green flag run when you really started feeling the grip go away?
Probably around lap 20 or 30 at the run, I started noticing that I couldn't catch the front three as easily as I could before.
Well, a great run, obviously, for you here tonight after the hardships last week of Daytona. This will obviously, early on in the season, gain you a lot of spots in the standings. We're going to turn the microphone over and let you do some shout-outs here after your podium finish.
What? I want to thank Next Esports. And then that's it, actually, yeah.
All right, so third place finish for Jose Solis Jr. Congrats, and hopefully you can carry this momentum into next week.
Yeah, thanks, Sam.
All right, let's see if we can get Blake Reynolds into here. And we are being told our race winner will be here momentarily as well.
User joined your channel.
All right, we've got Blake Reynolds, our runner-up finisher, standing by. And Blake, first off, was there in any way on those restarts that rear-end damage we saw you sustained early on, did that affect you in any way, shape, or form? Because it still looked like your car was pretty racy.
I'm not too sure. I just, I was struggling with right front saving. I ran the wrong steering ratio, so that was my main problem the whole race. I don't think the rear end affected me too much. I mean, you can run without a rear bumper and still be fast in these things, so I don't think it was that.
We saw on those restarts you were basically put to the high side for the most part, being there in that second position, but you were able to get yourself down to the inside line since the 31 was getting those good restarts. Was there anything that you could have done differently on those specific restarts to be able to hang with the 31 and maybe challenge him for the win late?
No, not really. I didn't know how to get going on the cold tires. I don't have a lot of experience in this car, so yet. So yeah, just the cold tires I was just struggling with on the restarts. Once we got going though, I could hold with them, but like I said, I ran the wrong steering ratio, and that just kind of hampered me anything past 20 laps.
All right, let's see if Sam's got any questions for you.
Yeah, so 20 laps, it felt like the tires were dropping off. Was there any way that you felt like you could save your tires at all during those runs?
Well, I was doing the best I could. I was trying to turn the wheel as little as I could, but I was running 12 to 1, and in this stuff, you got to be running like 14 or 16 to be fast, especially to save your tires and run fast. So, uh, yeah, if I had just changed my steering ratio, I think I would have been fine.
Well, still a great performance for you here tonight. You ran pretty much second all night long. That's where you finished. We're going to turn the microphone over and let you do some shout outs here.
Sure thing. Just want to thank everyone, FTF, Justin, Kyle, Cosman, Corey, Jake, all of them putting this on. I've been wanting to race FTF over on NR, but I sucked at NR, and I'm pretty good at iRacing, so glad the league's over here, and yeah, that's about it. I'm not on any teams in this league, so.
All right, well, with early on in the season, good performances moved drivers up quite a bit in the standings. 19th last week at Daytona, second tonight. I'd say this puts you, at least for the moment, up inside of that top 12 for a playoff spot. So congrats on that, and hopefully you can carry this momentum into the remainder of the season.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
All right, that's Blake Reynolds. We're going to see if we can get our race winner now, Derek Justice.
User joined your channel.
And we now have him, Derek Justice here, our race winner tonight from Rockingham. And Derek, dominating performance, but a little bit of a hairy situation to get to the front. Talk about that 3 wide there with the 36 of Kinnick there coming off of turn 2.
Yeah, and like we had a couple of restarts, and when we both tried starting in first year with old tires, it was kind of hairy. So therefore, I adjusted a little bit on like the throttle control, because I knew, to get the best advantage is first gear, regardless on how bad the tire spin is, and I just got a really good start, and timed his restart, and I didn't look at the replay, but I didn't know if I raced him, like pinched him, and he washed up. I didn't look at the replay, so if it was my fault, I apologize. But yeah, it was pretty hairy. Then lap cars were doing the best they can to get out of the way, because there's like it's so like there's never a good place to catch a lap car around the track, because the way that the racing line is, just it's really difficult to get your entry angle in, and keep the speed, and try to keep a distance from the people chasing behind you.
Now, we knew that drivers were not going to be able to make it the entire way without coming to pit road at least once, somewhere within the halfway point vicinity. We almost went into a long green flag run there, and it was looking like we were going to start to see some drivers maybe strategize about short pitting, coming to pit road, making their only stop of the day. We saw a car actually stay out about 75 laps. So obviously we weren't able to have those green flag pit stops, but to go inside the head of the driver, were you thinking ahead to that point, and what was your target lap to come to pit road?
I didn't really have a target lap to go to, but I knew if I would just, I want to make sure I had the freshest tires on anybody else that was in contention of winning the race. So if Roger or Brandon or Blake or anybody else behind me, I was paying attention to when they were gonna go dive down pit road, and I try to make sure I have a 4 or 5, maybe 6 laps advantage on the tires if that did go green. But my strategy was to stay out as long as I can until I feel like that I'm being put at a disadvantage.
Sam?
Yeah, Derek, it seemed like you were the king of the restarts here, and you were restarting up front most of the time. I saw you were switching it off by starting as fast as you could to letting off as much as you could. There an actual strategy involved, or were you just trying to throw them off as much as you could?
Yeah, the way the rule set is, you want to be unpredictable. So and of course it would give me a little bit analyze on like how bad the tire spin is if I go late or go early. So I wanted to restart where it was most difficult, the person on the outside, that I felt like. So as soon as I found a good sweet spot, I tried to restart there. So they couldn't get any traction the way you're somewhat coming down the hill off turn 4. So it was just a strategy, just learn different restarts and how bad the tire spin was on the outside lane.
Yeah, Derek, I mean, you had the top 10 run last week at Daytona. Yeah, obviously with the win here tonight. So this puts you obviously up into a playoff position. And I know it's very early on still in the season, but with having that win in the pocket this early on, how does that change the mentality for upcoming races?
Well, the schedule this year that they have is pretty unique. So the mentality stays the same every racetrack I go to. Just find speed and be consistent. Just so happens that Rockingham is one of my better tracks because I like tracks that have a lot of character, bumpy and stuff. Same way with Iowa, Kentucky. Tracks with character, I feel like I do really good, and a lot of people hate it. So, but the coming schedule looks like it's pretty good to me, and just you gotta learn to like all the racetracks, regardless, anyway, to be able to compete for championships. So.
No doubt about it. I was telling Sam, it's the first time seeing the number 31 Baskin-Robbins machine take a checkered in iRacing, but it's not unfamiliar to me overall. I remember seeing you take a lot of wins over in Air 2003 as well. We're going to turn the microphone over to you and let you do some shout-outs here after your victory.
Yeah, shout out to you guys for on the broadcast. I did not watch the Daytona race last week, so I apologize, but I'm sure y'all put on a great product. Shout out to, of course, Toyota, Baskin Robbins, Pure Leaf Tea, and all other my side sponsors. Shout out to my Twitch chat, always supporting me, and twitch.tv/justice. If y'all don't know, I'm here to provide all help that people want to get faster on iRacing, and shout out everybody in YouTube land watching this broadcast.
All right, that's Derek Justice. He dominates here tonight at Rockingham, taking the checkered flag. Congrats, man.
Thank you.
And that's going to do it for our coverage here this evening from North Carolina Speedway. I mean, Sam, I think we can safely say that a lot of the expectations we had for Rockingham coming into this race, they pretty much came to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good race to watch. I mean, like we were saying right when the broadcast started, this is kind of where we're going to see the real season start. And we saw dominance from Derek Justice there and a ton of wrecks. And hopefully we don't see as many wrecks from here on out, but very good racing from top to bottom.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. Be interesting to see what the point scenario looks like heading into next week. Obviously, next week we will not be bringing you the Grand National Series broadcast. That's going to be taking place for 3 weeks over on STN. They're going to be bringing you Auto Club, Phoenix, and Atlanta. We will be back on March 21st to bring you the 6th race of the season at the Homestead Miami Roval. That's going to be interesting. The road course at the track that's mostly associated with the season finale in NASCAR. So going to be looking forward to that. Never really seen a race at that circuit before, but that's going to do it here this evening. We will see you guys in March as we will continue on coverage of the FTF Grand National Series. But for Sam Dyer, I'm Seth Cole,